You're the person everyone counts on. You manage it all, you show up for everyone, and you make it work. But by the end of the day, when everything's done and everyone's taken care of, you're the one running on empty. And somewhere along the way, you just stopped expecting anything different. Today, I want to talk about what that's actually costing you because it goes a lot deeper than just being tired. When's the last time that you actually did something just for you? Not for your family, not for your job, not because it makes you more productive, just because you needed it and you deserved it. If you had to think about this episode is especially for you. And I want to start by saying to all of the women that just felt so called out by that, it is not your fault. Society has brought us up to think that to be a good woman, to be a good wife, to be a good girlfriend, partner, whatever, daughter, you are supposed to put everybody else first, take care of everyone, do what they need. I mean, anybody else like a recovering people pleaser? Yeah, if you're listening to the audio, my hand is absolutely raised. And we're just taught that that's normal. And the craziest part of all of that is you're supposed to put everyone first, take care of everyone else, do all of the things, run all the stuff, keep everything in order, but do all of that with like your hair looking nice, being all fit, and your lip gloss looking good, and your outfit all ironed, whatever. Like the expectations that we have on women is absolutely crazy. But the thing is we're supposed to do that second half of it while we're giving all of our time and energy to everybody else in the first part of what I just said. So then we think, okay, I don't have time for me. I don't have time for my goals or to take care of myself. And I guess that's just how it's going to be. I don't know how everybody has the time to do all of these things. And I know that people have different 24 hours in their day or different schedules going on. But the reality is, there is time, but it makes it so much harder to figure out where do I find that time? What do I do with that time? But how do I actually allow myself to give myself that time to take care of myself? And that's part of what I want to get into today. Because if society teaches us to put ourselves last, but still has this expectation of we're supposed to have it all together, there's gotta I just went on a search. There's gotta be a way to do this, right? There's gotta be a way to do all the things that I want to and actually still feel like I was taking care of myself. And on the kind of related, kind of other side of this, we have diet culture that tells women that you need to sacrifice everything to be skinny, right? You sacrifice your social life, the food that you like, all of your time to be in the gym. Like we're stressing and obsessing and spending way too much mental bandwidth on all of these things that honestly, at least for myself and my experience with this, I felt awful. I was miserable. I had low energy. I was so self conscious. I couldn't actually go live my freaking life in this body that I was working so hard for, but it didn't even look the way that I wanted to anyway. And the crazy part is that's how most women experience life. And we're just doing what we're told. It's not our fault. It's not like we wanted that. It's not like we chose that. None of those options sound fun or enjoyable. None of us pick that, but a lot of us get stuck in one or other or both of those at some point in our lives. And they both lead us to feeling exhausted and depleted and disconnected from ourselves. So the real cost of not actually being able to put ourselves first and actually truly take care of ourselves and just going along with the way that we're told to do things, the real cost isn't just being tired and exhausted and like sad that we don't have the results that we want, but all of those are very valid. Like none of those are fine. But the real cost is the relationship that you're building with yourself. And one of the biggest places that this shows up, especially if we're thinking of health and fitness, not being able to prioritize those things to help you reach your health and fitness goals, you lose confidence. You lose confidence in maybe how you look if you're not able to take care of yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing people think of. But I think it goes a lot deeper than that because I think when people have these physical goals, they're not actually after that physical goal. It's how they think that goal is going to make them feel. Because if you have an external body that represents how you are on the inside, especially if you are someone who works your butt off to take care of everybody else, your external being able to show you're hardworking, you show up for other people and for yourself, and you take care of things and you keep your word and you're committed and you Do all of like the external just shows that. If you see someone who's fit, someone who's healthy, you know what went into that. You know what their mindset is like. And you have so much admiration and respect for what it took to get to that point. And I'm not saying everybody needs to look a certain way. And I hope that you're able to just envision whatever you want to fill in for yourself for what your goal looks like. But that's why people want that, because of what it communicates. And it's you being able to show up for yourself, because everybody has a busy life. Everybody has a full life and a lot on their plate and other people to take care of. And what a blessing it is to have a job or family or relationships to want to be able to pour into and to show up for those other people. But if you can't show up for you, you can't show up as that best version of you, right? If you keep saying you want to start eating healthier and learn how to do that and fuel your body and have a better relationship with food, and you want to start exercising, and you want to be able to take care of yourself, or you want to go back to school, or you want to start a business or ask for a raise or to try to apply for a new job, like any of the things that you want, but you consistently don't show up for yourself, you are not going to have the confidence to just boldly step out and show up and get it done. And it's going to be a lot harder to get yourself started and keep going, because you don't trust yourself that you can, because you don't have the track record, the proof to show yourself that you do show up for you. That's where that confidence comes from, because you consistently show up for you, especially when it's hard, especially when you're busy, especially when you're not motivated, especially when you have a lot else going on. But you still say, hey, I'm going to actually take the time and effort and energy and maybe money to invest in taking care of myself and these goals and these things that are so important to me. That's what builds confidence, because you can actually show up for you and trust you that you are your own ride or die. And what really made this click for me and understand this, because this is something that I struggled with for a really long time, is I just had this realization: you're going to spend the entire rest of your life in your brain and in your body. And for me, at least, those were not fun places to be. I did not take care of myself. I did not show up for myself. I did not keep the promises that I made for myself. And I was putting everybody else ahead of me and putting myself on the back burner. Or I was doing everything diet culture told me when I felt awful, my relationship with myself and food and my health and being able to go live life in that body I was trying to work so hard for. They all took a hit. And I realized that I was making my body and my mind such an uncomfortable, unhealthy, just not fun place to live. And I even had this kind of dark thought, but let's say I died in a year from now, or a month from now, or a day from now, and I knew I was about to die, and I just look back and I thought, man, I spent my whole life not actually showing up for and taking care of me. And that felt really, really heavy. I'm not going to lie, because I knew the honest truth was like I had not been doing that. I either completely was neglecting myself, or I was doing all of the wrong things that diet culture told me to do that just wasn't honoring and taking care of me. Because the reality is, if you are experiencing the entire rest of your life with yourself as yourself, that relationship with yourself is the most important relationship that you will ever create with another person. Not with your spouse, not with your kids, not with your friends, not with your coworkers, because the only guaranteed person for the rest of your life is you. And if you can't take care of yourself and give yourself that honest effort that you know that you deserve and you want other people to give you, speaking from experience, that sucks. That does not feel good. And you don't deserve that. And I want to give an analogy that I think is going to hit, especially for anybody where you are maybe a little bit of a people pleaser and you really just want to be able to take care of the people in your life. And I'm not saying don't do that, by the way. But imagine if you had someone that you loved. Maybe it's your partner, or it's a kid, or a best friend, and you never gave them time. You never really cared for them. You never spoke kindly to them. That person would probably feel like you don't actually love them. It's one thing to maybe say that you do, but if your actions and your efforts don't actually back that up, that person is not going to feel loved. But that's what we do to ourselves every day. And we just call it normal. We just call it, that's what it means to be a good woman or wife or employee, to just not give yourself the time or the energy or the care. And that's just like, yep, that's good. That's what you're supposed to do. But again, if you're spending the rest of your life with yourself, why would you not want to take care of that relationship? And I wanted to share my story with this because I think this can look a lot of different ways. And I'm curious if anyone else can resonate with this and see yourself in this story. So, over the past couple of years, especially, I started my own business 5, 6 years ago, so I was building my business. I'd entered a new relationship with my now husband. I'd moved. I was trying to create a life for myself and have friends, build a life, do all the things. I was still pursuing bodybuilding for a while in this time period. And then I kind of transitioned out of that. And I was focusing more just on just lifestyle, health, and fitness things. And slowly I realized that my health and my body, but more so just my mindset, were starting to slip. And especially for me, which like I've been a health and fitness coach, a personal trainer for a long time. Like this has been my pretty much identity for as long as I can remember. So it was really weird for me to realize that I was doing that, and I just got to the point where I was so exhausted and so burnt out. And I honestly didn't want to go do things. And I realized that I started to use this kind of vocabulary with myself when I would talk to myself about I wouldn't allow myself to go for a walk in the middle of the day because I needed to work still because people needed me and I had things I had to do. And I just didn't deserve that. I couldn't go out, hang out with friends on the weekends or on a Friday night because I hadn't been productive enough or successful enough and other people needed me and I had things I had to do. So I wasn't allowed to do that. I didn't deserve to do that yet. Maybe once I got to that point, then I'd be able to do that. Right. And I would skip stretching, I would skip training my core, or I would skip doing rehab type exercises for my spine injury. I would cut my workout short, I would skip my cardio. I would end up pushing my meals, later and later at night because I was like, well, I got to get this work task done. I'll eat afterwards. I wasn't sleeping as much because I was staying up late to work, and then I would have time for my husband, and then I would try to wake up early to do all these other things, and I just felt exhausted because I was doing a lot. I was doing a lot of things, but I wasn't doing a lot of things for myself. And it just started to get to the point where I felt, I'm not gonna lie, really miserable. I was constantly anxious, constantly stressed, constantly overwhelmed. I didn't have energy. I wasn't feeling creative. I wasn't feeling like connecting with people. And that obviously makes it worse. And I just got to this breaking point where I realized again, I'm spending the rest of my life in my body and in my mind. And these are not fun places to be. I'm not actually caring for those the way that you would think someone would if they realized just how important that was. That's when it hit me. And that's when I said, okay, I still have all these responsibilities. I still have a business. I still have all these things I need to do, but I need to change how I go about this. I need to change some habits. I need to change some priorities. I got to get a little bit more serious about this because I don't want to spend the rest of my life feeling like well, maybe eventually sometime in the future when I reach this invisible end goal that I just kept moving forward and forward and forward, when I get there, then I can take care of myself. Then I can actually have time for these things. Then I can prioritize it. I realized I need to figure out how to do that now. So I started being really intentional with my time. I started having boundaries for work, actually setting a reminder in my phone of you need to take a work break to actually go eat, blocking out 15, 20 minutes to go for a walk in the middle of the day between tasks to get some sunshine. I'd realized I hadn't been outside and see the sunshine not through a window in months. I would have the time to go to the gym and actually stretch for a couple of minutes and train my core and do my rehab exercises. And I worked those in and I put my phone on do not disturb when I went to the gym to give myself like an hour and a half just for me and not for everybody else. In the mornings, I would keep my phone on do not disturb and I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't react to the world and the messages and all the people that needed me. I actually started waking up earlier because I just wanted a time in the day where nobody needed me, where I could just focus on me and pouring into my own energy and doing things that actually made me feel good and made me feel taken care of. That was the biggest thing. Like I felt like I was actually finally taking care of myself. And when I tell you that my anxiety just gone, Like I had the craziest, just full body anxiety, stress all the time, super low energy. I was not super joyful. I could tell you that much. I was not successful in any goals that honestly I just stopped setting goals for myself, if I'll be so real, because I just felt I don't have time to work on those. I actually brought those back and I just feel so much happier. And now it's been a while since I've been prioritizing those things and I feel like a completely different person. And even like my husband will say that. Like I just seem happier, I seem more peaceful. I'm able to still show up for the people in my life and still have time for those things. And it is still hard to balance a schedule and all of the things. And I'm definitely not perfect at it. I'm still working on it, but I just feel happier and more like myself. I guess that's the biggest thing. I feel more like myself now that I'm actually prioritizing taking care of me and telling myself, like, you actually deserve to do this. Like, you deserve to go for that little walk because you know you're going to feel better to then go do everything else that you're going to. You deserve to feel good. And then it made everything else I did more fruitful. It made everything else I did more effective and productive because I felt good and I felt taken care of. So I was my best version of me to then go show up for everybody else. And I see this so much with the women that I work with too. I had a woman that we just started working together not that long ago. It's only been a little bit over a month. And she'd sent me a message after a couple of weeks because she works crazy hours. She's got kids. She is a phenomenal mom, phenomenal woman. She works in healthcare. She's on call a lot. She has lots of times where she's working for 24 hours on shift on call and just pouring into everybody else. And I feel like that's so common for most of like I feel like that's just how most women are, most people are, right? Like we're doing all these things for other people. And she hadn't been taking care of herself. She hadn't been eating very much because she just didn't have the time for it. She was stressed, kind of running on fumes, wasn't consistently exercising, didn't really spend the time or the energy to take care of her because she just needed to go, go, go. So when we first started working together, we got some systems in place. And within the first couple of weeks, she sent me a message that I'm not going to lie, like kind of brought some tears to my eyes because I just know the impact that it makes. Essentially, she had said she had been caring for her mom who had been diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. And she'd been caring for her mom, giving most of her time and energy to that, which is what you need to do in those situations. But by the end of all of that, she had said that she just lost herself completely. Like she stopped caring for herself. And in those first couple of weeks of us working together, she had sent a message. Basically, she forgot that she needed to take care of herself first. And just the little things that we implemented for her, like making sure she was stopping to eat during the day, having some healthy food available because she's very, very busy, being able to get workouts in. And we've got some home ones at her work gym. Like we're very flexible with how we fit it into her schedule. And just those little things of her taking care of herself or prioritize getting enough sleep and having a little wind down routine at night. She had said that she feels more like herself than she has in years since all of that had happened. And that was after just a couple of weeks of her doing those simple habits to take care of herself. And that's what I'm saying is it doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't need to spend hours and hours and hours of your day working on your goals because not everybody realistically has time to do that. But just those little moments, those little things make a really big impact on how you take care of and show up for yourself. And there's a ripple effect. Yes, you will show up better for other people because you know the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. That's true. Or you need to put your oxygen mask on the airplane before you can help someone next to you put theirs on because you're no use to them if you're not breathing. It's the same thing with this. Like, yes, there is a ripple effect. And people then get the better version of you. Like I said, I'm a better version of me now that I'm actually being intentional with taking care of myself. My husband feel it, my friends feel it. Other people in my life feel that because I'm a better version of me. I'm happier, I feel more grounded, I'm more confident, I feel taken care of. So they get the better version of me. I can take care of them better too. However, I want to caution that's not the only reason we do that. And I feel like that's what a lot of people say is, yeah, you fill yourself up so you can pour into other people. And I don't think that's necessarily the mindset we always want to have with it. I think that's more of the result. And that just happens from the overflow of your cup being full. But the point isn't to fill your cup in order to fill somebody else's. The point is to take care of yourself because you just deserve to take care of yourself, like full stop. Period. We don't need any other further explanation past that. You deserve to take care of you and feel taken care of and feel loved by yourself and give yourself the effort that you deserve to feel good, to reach your goals, to achieve whatever success looks like for you in your life. You deserve to have that. And then because you are so full from that, from taking care of you, from working on that relationship with you, there's an overflow that comes from that. And that's what fills everybody else's cup. It's a small difference, but it's really key. Like it genuinely makes the biggest difference. And I see stuff like this so often, especially with the clients that I work with. I can't tell you how many times I've had a client where we start learning about nutrition and she starts to fuel her body better. Maybe she starts eating more because she was barely fueling her body. Maybe she wasn't eating very healthy. So she's learning how to do that. She's prepping healthy food for herself. And their kids will start to want to eat healthier. They'll ask about that too. I'll have clients where they start working out and they work out at home and their kids want to join in with them. Clients where they start focusing on eating healthier and their partner will want to partake in that or go to the gym with them, go on walks with them. They'll bring a walking pad or meal prep to work or go for a walk at lunch, and other people in their office start to do that too. I know for myself, once I started eating better and exercising more, friends around me, my family, the people in my life took notice of that and saw that difference, and that inspired them to want to be able to do that too because they saw how that impacted me when I did those things. And something here that I think is so important, and this is something I talk to all of my clients about that have daughters, especially, but have kids. And I have so many women that will tell me when we first get on an initial phone call and they'll just kind of tell me about their story and they'll say, I want to learn about nutrition. That's a big reason why they want to work together is they obviously want to improve their body composition, but they want to improve their relationship with food and their body and understanding of nutrition because they don't want their daughters or they don't want their kids to grow up having that same poor relationship with food or their body or the scale that they grew up with. They don't want their daughters to struggle with that. So they want to do it for themselves, knowing that that is going to impact their daughters. They want to focus on their health, on nourishing their body, on doing it the right way, because they know that that is going to overflow and impact everybody else in their life. So, yes, it's for you, and yes, it's for other people. And I think if we can just think of all of those things together, that just gives us a lot more motivation and reason to be able to stick with those. And I think different days or different situations, you can use both of those as your motivation to be able to show up for yourself. I think you can have other people be your motivation, your kids, your partner, to be the best version for them. And then there's some moments where I really want you, and it might feel uncomfortable at first to just think, because I actually deserve this for myself. Now, I want to talk about where all of this shows up in real life because this is so common and there are such easy ways to add into little things into your life to be the remedy for this. So, I want to give you a couple of actionable things too, but let's talk about nutrition first. This shows up for so many women where they're either barely eating because they either don't have time or they don't feel like they deserve to just take a second away from helping everybody else and actually make themselves a nutritious meal. Or maybe they've actually never learned how to fuel themselves properly, learned about nutrition, but it takes time and effort and energy to be able to learn those things. And so many women think that they just can't, they can't give the time and the effort and the energy to that. But what I would say to that, I would challenge you, you are going to eat for the rest of your life. And again, you're going to experience the rest of your life in your body. Don't you want to feel confident eating around food, not stressing about that? And if what you eat impacts your body, impacts your brain, your energy, and how you're able to show up and go through life and reach your goals, don't you think that that's important? I do. I think that's super important. As someone who struggled with that, and it took me a long time to figure it out, and being on the other side of it, I literally made it my life's mission to help other women with that because I've seen for myself and for thousands of other women the impact that that makes when you finally learn how to fuel yourself properly, still in a way that actually fits with your busy life and your schedule. You don't need to be cooking these gourmet crazy meals for an hour every single meal. Like, 'cause I know that's not realistic, but the peace that your body and your brain feel when you are nourished, when you actually learn how to fuel your body, you learn simple ways to be able to make eating healthy realistic for you and your lifestyle and actually enjoyable. That's real. And that's available to you. Now, the second place that this shows up so often is movement, because when life is full and busy, A lot of times that's what gets pushed to the back burner, and that's like what I even said for myself. And again, I've been a personal trainer and a fitness coach for a really long time, and I would even push my workouts off or going for walks, and I wouldn't give myself the time in my schedule to be able to do those. But when you skip it, what you're communicating to yourself is that your health isn't worth the time, that you aren't worth it for any of these things. If you're skipping taking care of you, either consciously or subconsciously, what you're telling yourself is you aren't worth it. You don't deserve to give yourself that time and that energy. And I don't know about you guys, but hearing that to me, that does not sit right. That is not how I want to have my relationship with myself be. That is not how I want to think about things, which is what made me get really serious about wanting to actually prioritize those, especially because when you do consistently prioritize movement and exercise, we have so much science and research to fully 100% without a doubt back this. Your life is better. Your mental health is better. Your physical health is better. Your confidence is better. Your vitality, everything improves when you consistently exercise and move your body. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could be 30 minutes 3 times a week in your living room if it needs to be. You could go for short little walks, break it up in the day. You could get up a little bit earlier, go before work. We have so many resources and things available to help us figure out how to fit this into our day and how incredibly important this is for us now and for the rest of our life. And the thing is nobody else can do it for you. Nobody can exercise for you, can move it for you. It's entirely yours to be able to say, I deserve to give myself all the incredible things that happen when I prioritize movement and exercise and moving my body and actually giving myself the time and energy that I deserve to create that habit and hold that up. That is entirely yours to be able to claim and execute on. And the third place that I see this so often that makes such a big impact is in the mornings. Because for a lot of us, and I realized I was doing this as I would wake up and immediately grab my phone and I would check notifications, I would check messages, I would check emails, I would check social media, I'd be scrolling. And I, before my feet even hit the floor, I was stressed. Everybody needed me. I was comparing, and my energy and my headspace and my day was not mine to determine how I wanted it to go. Even just 10 minutes for yourself in the morning makes such a big difference, especially if you have to get up, you have to take care of the kids, you have to leave for work, you have to rush into the day. You don't have time for this hour-long morning routine. You don't need that. But just giving yourself even 10 minutes of your morning, spending time with yourself, not being on your phone. For goodness sakes, please don't go on your phone for the first like 30 to 60 minutes of your day. Like, keep that baby on do not disturb, keep it on that nightstand, do not grab that. Actually be intentional with your mornings because that's what sets your tone for your entire day. I heard this quote one time where your mornings determine your day, which I don't know about you guys, but if you have a bad morning and you're stressed and anxious, that's how you feel for the rest of the day, right? But you have a great morning, it's a lot easier to feel good the rest of the day. But your mornings make your day makes your weeks makes your months makes your years, and your years are your life. So your mornings are really freaking important to set that energy and that mood for yourself before the rest of the world gets to decide it for you. And what you're saying is, I matter enough to start my own day first, to take this time for myself first before everybody else needs me. Let me pour into my own cup so I feel full, so I feel ready to go out and show up for everybody else. When I got serious about my mornings, that changed everything. Like, I attribute this shift that I've made, a big part of that is literally just those mornings. That's why that's so powerful. So I want to help you guys apply this. And I just want to focus on those three buckets. So from the nutrition piece, I want you to either pick one meal to prep for yourself for the week. You could put it in Tupperwares. You could just ingredient prep. I show how I do all this on my Instagram. So I always link my Instagram in the description. If you're trying to get consistent with how to make eating healthy enjoyable and simple, go check out some of those full days of eating and reels and things that I post there. But I want you to pick either a meal to prep for yourself this week, or maybe you use the 3-2 method where you pick at least two proteins, at least two carbs, and at least two veggies or fruits easily prepared and ready for you to use to create healthy meals throughout that week. Give yourself that little bit of time. Can be done in under an hour. All of my meal preps take me about 30 to 45 minutes to prep all the food for my husband and I for the week. And he is a professional bodybuilder. He eats a lot of food. Also, your girl eats a lot of food too. So I've got a system down that makes it really easy. And I would add to that, if you're someone who doesn't usually take the time to pause and eat, I would either have approximate times in your head. That's what I usually do. So I'll know for dinner, for example, I tell myself, hey, like 6:30, that's when I'm going to take a little pause from work if I'm still working. And I'm going to go eat dinner and then I can go back and finish up if I need to. But I deserve to be able to eat. For a lot of clients, I'll either recommend doing that or setting physical reminders on their phone. So that will go off. It can be a silent alarm, it doesn't have to be loud, but setting that reminder so it'll pop up and remind you to be able to pause and nourish your brain and your body before you go back to doing all the things that you're doing during that day. All right, for workouts now, if you do not already do this, especially if you're someone who consistently puts it off, whether that's your workouts, whether that's trying to get some steps in throughout that day, whether that's you want to start stretching more, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm not even 30 and I'm like achy and it's painful. And I don't love that for myself. And stretching would help that. So, whatever of those habits that you're having a hard time sticking with, literally put them in your calendar, put them in your phone, Google Calendar, put them in your planner, your whiteboard, whatever you use, put them all the places if you have multiple places. That is your appointment with yourself. And we are not going to break that appointment. If it's in your schedule, it's going to get done. Just like, let's say you have a hair appointment, you want your hair to look nice. So you are going to show up for that dang hair appointment, right? You maybe have a dentist appointment. You want your teeth to be clean. You're going to show up for that dentist appointment, right? The same thing for your workouts. You want to be healthy. You want to have a good body composition, good cardiovascular health, good cholesterol and blood sugar, all the things that come from exercising, all the good things that come from that. You want that, right? So we're going to block that time in your schedule. Like I said, it could be a 30-minute workout in your living room. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but block that time in your schedule and stick to it. That is an appointment that you make for yourself. If you absolutely have to move it, find somewhere else to reschedule it to. But we're keeping that promise that we're going to still do that workout because it's really important. If you can do it in the mornings, I think the mornings are a great time. That's what I found works the best for me because then I'm able to take that time to really set myself up mentally to really take care of myself. And then I can dive into everything else versus, at least for me, I found if I would start work and then try to go work out later, I was maybe a little bit more drained. I couldn't really show up for myself. I was just thinking about getting back to work. So for me, at least, and for my schedule, what works best is for me to go in the mornings, take that time for me, pour into my cup. That's why my mornings, like I said, are so important. And then I feel my best to be able to go take care of everybody else. Now, for your mornings, we're going to get really intentional about how we're going to spend our mornings. And if you have to get up and rush out the door, set your alarm like 10 minutes earlier. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. And I want you to pick one thing that you can do for yourself that's just you taking time with you and focusing on grounding yourself, setting some good energy, feeling good before we rush off into the day. So again, the phone is not a part of this. She's on do not disturb. She's put away. She's not by us. I don't know why her phone is she, but she is. We're not on our phones. Maybe this is if your faith is important to you, maybe you're in prayer, you're in Bible study, doing a devotional, maybe you're journaling, maybe you're meditating, maybe you're going for a walk outside, maybe you're stretching a little bit, maybe you're just sitting and quietly sitting on your patio and drinking some coffee. Whatever feels good for you to just slow down, do something that you know is going to make you feel good before you go into that day. That alone is going to make such a big difference of how you feel and how you show up for everybody else. Now, all of those sound small and they're probably things that you've heard before, and they probably sound really simple and good. That's the point. It should be really simple, in my opinion, to be able to find things and implement them to make us feel good. Because if it's really complicated, probably not going to do it. But it's really important that we do it because remember, you are going to spend the entire rest of your life in your brain and in your body. And why would you not want to make that the best possible place to live? Start today, not Monday, not next week, today. And if you have someone else in your life that needs to hear this message, I know that I do. So I'm going to lovingly send it to them and say what you think of it. But if you have other people that need to hear this message or other people that you maybe want to work on this together, because I know that it's hard to start to put ourselves first. But I think having the support of other people and the accountability of other people makes it so much easier and it makes it really fun to learn how to be able to take care of ourselves. So send this to somebody if you think that they need it, they would benefit from it. You guys want to do this together, hold them accountable. Because I also just really want to normalize women wanting to really show up for and take care of and love on other people, but also really wanting to love on and show up and taking care of themselves. And if you enjoyed this episode, you got something from it, Feel free to drop a like, a comment, a follow if you're on YouTube, drop a rating or review or follow for the show if you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And like I end every episode, I love you. Thank you for hanging out with me. Now go do something that your future self will thank you for. Bye, guys.